Welcome back to another episode of Out of Touch. John, Dustin, and Mitchell here with you as always here on this tax week. It's technically not tax day anymore, obviously. That was early this week, but it is tax week and probably my least favorite time of the year. I hate seeing all of the ads for all the different tax services that they try to get you to use to get the best deal on your return or whatever the heck all that stuff is. But I always wait for the last minute to do my taxes. Mitchell, I think you may have even teased at the end of last week's episode about having to do your taxes because you knew the deadline was coming. I didn't realize that the actual day for tax day was this past Monday until Sunday.
That's good. Hopefully you just use TurboTax. Yeah.
I did use TurboTax.
I was going to say your taxes are probably very simple.
Oh, yeah, it was very easy. And it's probably the easiest it's ever been for me.
Good. I thought it was very funny the way that I thought you were opening. Like, tax day is always the worst, implying that, like, when you have $1 zillion, you got to give the government so much money. Like, did you see what Mark Cuban posted?
No.
He posted that he had to do his taxes and he owed the government $230 million.
Oh, my gosh.
He's like, I'm proud to give it to the government because I love my country or whatever. I'm sure it was a shot at Donald Trump. And yeah, he posted his tax bill from his accountant, $230 million he was required to pay.
Who would be proud to give any amount of money? And this isn't even a political thing, but taxes, no one wants to give anybody their money, I feel like. I don't care what they're using it for.
There was there's like a meme out there of like this, I don't remember man or woman, but and it just says, me doing my taxes, trying to figure out when the government came to work with me 40 hours a week every single week.
Right.
It is a lot. Dustin, were your taxes easy?
I
feel like with all the traveling you do, and I mean, I don't know how many times you've changed jobs. I don't feel like you change too frequently, but is it a pain in the ass for you?
Change jobs and change locations multiple times, it becomes, to use a pun, it becomes awfully taxing.
Oh.
People are going to hit stop episode after that joke. It wasn't too bad. I've had to do like 1099s before, W-2s, mix and match, different states, all that good stuff. So it wasn't too bad, but because I usually do it like right away, but this year I waited until the last minute, I will admit.
Every year I always say I'm going to do them at the very beginning of the year. But here's the thing. You normally don't get your W-2s and or 1099s, whatever it may be. You normally don't get those until a few weeks into the year at the earliest. And by then, all of the motivation to get ahead of everything at the start of the new year is gone. So by then, I'm just like, forget it. I'm going to put this off until April because there's nothing fun about it.
Speaking of putting it off, I discovered the tax extension that you can apply for.
I feel like that makes it even worse, though, because then you got to keep thinking about it.
No, way better. I filed for that thing on TurboTax last year. Didn't even think about it until October. And by October, you're not even really, you don't care. It was so long ago. You just, whatever. I'll finish this up right quick.
Yeah, I feel like in October. I feel like once you hit October, though, at least for me, your mindset is in holiday mode. And maybe not necessarily Halloween, but you're already in the holidays. The back quarter of the year feels like it's reserved for the most fun holidays of the entire calendar, I guess.
Maybe I have to get back into the swing of the winter because I didn't get into holiday mode last year or the year before when I was in the South until I got back up here for the holidays because it was just 70 degrees, 60 degrees, and I was still playing golf.
And plus, you got football going on pretty much at its prime at that point, whether it be college or pro football.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did actually. This is kind of funny. I think I did my taxes last year on the golf course through TurboTax on my phone.
Well, if you just have, I imagine it would be more difficult. I know when I was in sales, it was more difficult, but also that's because it was like a 1099 and a W-2 that I had to go through.
Right. The 1099 is kind of frustrating because obviously they don't take the taxes out, so you have to budget a little bit for that. I was lucky that I did that. I had some buddies that learned that the hard way. That, oh man, I made all this money, and then Uncle Sam comes calling. You're like,
You-
I don't
you
have
don't
that
get to-
money.
You didn't get to keep it all. No,
Yeah, give me that extension.
I have to wait till that next paycheck to pay my taxes.
Yeah, right.
Another thing that comes in the springtime is obviously the warm weather, and with the warm weather comes all of the bugs out of the ground for the first time. And I don't know if you guys notice this. Maybe this is solely a Kentucky thing. Maybe it's a national thing. But I know, at least where I live, every morning for the past few days, and it usually continues on for a week or so, on the front porch of my house are these dead beetles. I think they're beetles. But the night before, they're not there. You can scrub them off, scrub the dead ones off from the previous day off the porch. You come back the next morning, there's a bunch of dead beetles on your front porch, probably 15 to 20 of them, maybe more or less depending on where you live. What is that about? Do either of you know what I'm talking about? And if you know what it is, tell me.
I like that you set that joke up like it was like airplane food. What is that about?
I don't think about that kind of stuff when I'm setting this kind of stuff up.
Are
I'm
these
not that
June
clever.
bugs that you're talking about? Because if they're
They
June
might
bugs,
be June bugs. To
I
me,
used to
they
get
look
them
like
in-
beetles, but I only ever see
they
them
are
on.
they're all like little beetles. That's what I would, at least. I'm not an etymologist. I don't know, but
Isn't that
we always
word?
called them June bugs. And
Isn't etymology words? I'm either about to look really smart or so stupid right now.
well, one's entomology. I thought entomology was words and etymology was bugs. It's
How do
one
you
of the
spell
two.
that? Etymology is the study of the origin of words. I mean,
So ent is bugs.
I have no idea, but I'm the smartest person that you've ever met. That is good for me. You know why I know that? Because I used to watch the spelling bee.
Do you know what's even more embarrassing for me is that I do words for a living?
Yeah, that is.
I didn't know that.
Embarrassing.
Well,
Yeah,
I did know it. I just mixed them up.
Yeah, we can cut that.
No, let's leave it in. People are reading an idiot's work is usually how that
Here we
goes.
go. So June bugs are nocturnal and they are attracted to bright lights, but
So they're
when
idiots.
they are overexposed to light, it is apparently the overexposure will often kill them. So they're attracted to something that ultimately kills, like too much of a good thing, I guess.
You have like one of those bug lamps, the zappers.
I don't have
Yeah.
not on my front porch. I just have a regular lamp.
Well, it's apparently the same luminescence. Now I'm gonna look like an idiot not using the right word.
We're all about
Dang it, I
I'm not
went
even
for
gonna
it.
try because I
what
can't
us
mess
do on
another
the
one
show
up.
is look like idiots.
Yeah, I think it's a you thing, dude. That's like one of the 7 plagues. You got the bugs coming to your house.
We used to get them all the time in our pool, like in the summertime.
Oh yes,
And we'd have to get the pool net out and scratch. I mean, these things would like, you know how you'd have like you would do when you were little, you'd do a whirlpool around a pool, right? You just keep going the same direction 100 times. Those bugs would just like stay around that. Like they created their own whirlpool. It was so gross.
Was this
'Cause it'd
at
be, like,
night?
hundreds
Like they
of
would
them.
come out. Did you leave the light on underneath?
I don't know how I think they're just dumb insects. Not that any insect is smart,
Ants are pretty
but
smart.
we didn't have any lights out there that I remember anyway.
I don't know. What an
One thing I'm
interesting
not
open-
looking forward to, and this happened a couple of years ago, but I think it's supposed to happen on a much larger scale this time around, is why am I
Cicadas.
blanking on them? Yeah, the cicadas. I was forgetting
Yes.
their name for a moment.
They come out every
Supposedly there
couple
are
years.
2 broods or families, I guess, of cicadas that are supposed to emerge this May into early June, something like that. And man, those little suckers are loud, and
They're loud and
I'm-
they like wilt their skin, so they just leave their entire body. That's like
They
hollow
spend-
behind them. It's so weird and gross.
they spend 17 years underground and they come out for a couple of weeks. They mate, they lay their eggs, and they just die.
I feel like this is what I'm gonna say. I feel like the people in charge of bugs and bug knowledge are just making this stuff up.
There's
Because
no way that's true.
I feel like I feel like every year they're like the cicadas are coming out this year. Everybody beware. Every year they're coming out from underground. I'm like, well, it's not every 17 years. Now they changed it. Now it's
I
every
was
3 years.
just thinking that.
Like they have
it's
done
not
this
like-
I swear, every 4 years. Maybe there's different kinds of cicadas, but there's no chance. I think they're just making stuff up because we'll forget because we're dumb.
Kind of like the eclipse. I feel like the eclipses are like, oh my gosh, this is the only eclipse you're ever going to see. And I get it. The path of totality, the totality paths are different. I get it.
Yeah, you can look up and like, wow, the sun, it is literally blocked out by the moon. But these cicadas, you're not like shaking hand with Ron the cicada and like see you in 17 years. Like, no, they're just making that up. And I heard this. This is a theory that I heard from someone that's really stupid, and I kind of believe him. He thinks that science is mostly made up, and they just get away with stuff like not like good science that we require for like living, right? But
yes,
how old are the dinosaurs?
That's what I was going to get into.
You throw out a number, like who's going to check?
Is this a comedian?
Potentially, it's someone dumb. I heard this and I kind of subscribe to the thing, and that's what I think about the cicadas. Like, oh, you're gonna go do a 17-year study and prove me wrong? No one's gonna do that. You can just the first guy just said 17 years, and that's now what we go with forever.
It's kind of. I feel like this also happened with seahorses. And Jim Gaffigan had a bit on this. Like the male has the baby. They're just like some scientists didn't want to get shown up. Like, nope, that's not everybody does it except the seahorses. They're different. You just didn't want to admit he's wrong. That's what happened.
The first guy got called out. Nope, you're wrong. I'm a scientist. You can't. I know you don't. Yeah, that's how many people. This is an interesting question because I do this. So I'm one of these people. How many people on a daily basis don't outright lie, but say stuff that they don't have 100% certainty is true at their job? Like they'll just kind of ballpark something.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like, I don't want to say most of my job, but I feel like most people in radio who are blabbermouths for a living. I mean, sometimes I don't want to say you have to stretch the truth, but you kind of have to add your own thoughts and opinions are far from facts.
I think that's different. Having a job that requires opinions, they know that's opinions, but I'll give you an example. So like in my job, I sell lasers. So does this laser take care of brown spots? There's a lot of different brown spots. I know what wavelengths take care of browns, but I'll be like, yeah, because of the way that it's doing the thing. And I don't really know if that's true. That's just kind of what I've been told, and I just kind of feel it. I don't know. In that scenario, how many people where there's an actual thing that is happening, but the person doesn't understand 100%, whether because they don't want to, they don't need to, it's not required. Like, how many people are just kind of making stuff up, harmless lies, I guess? Like how often do you think that's happening in a day-to-day world in the world? I think it is 70 to 80% of people are just kind of making it up.
Can I tell you a funny story about it in regards to this?
Yes.
So when I was an academic advisor, now I want to make it clear that I did not screw up anybody's graduation. So just or their path. So just to throw that part out there. But what did happen was somebody like came to Ivy Tech because they wanted to do something that required a lot of math. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like in the business field. I don't know if it was accounting exactly. So
100% math.
Well, you had to have a lot of math. It was like a math heavy field.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mentioned things that you could do with this degree, and I mentioned actuary. I have no idea what an actuary does. I just heard the term and thought it sounded cool. Until a student asked what an actuary was, and I just had to make it up. I don't know what I said, but I panicked.
So do you
that
know
is
what an actuary is now?
Because scenario I'm talking about. Like
what is amazing to me?
and hope that you don't get called out, and when you do, nightmare.
if I could think like an actual human being, what I would have done is turned 45 degrees to my left, typed it into Google, and been like, hold on, let me get the right definition out so I don't,
fluff
misinform you. But no, I just decided I was going to try to lie to the student and tell them what an actuary was, despite me hearing the word approximately 2 times and having no idea what it meant. I still don't know what they do.
Mitchell, what do you think an actuary is? I've got the definition right in front of me.
Hold on. I think it has something to do with like risk management and like investment management or something.
You're on the right track. Yeah. Mitchell, do you know?
That's all I know.
I have no clue.
So the Google definition is a person who compiles and analyzes statistics and uses them to calculate insurance risks and premiums.
Oh. I thought it was stocks, like stock risks, but insurance risk makes sense.
You're in the right ballpark, though.
That is, when I was thinking of this, that is the exact scenario I had in my head, where like you say stuff that you think is mostly true, it's harmless, but the fact that you got called out for it makes it 100 times better. Because 99.9% of the time, people do exactly what I would do, be like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then just move on. But I respected this kid. Tell me more about that. Because he probably thought the same thing you did, like, ooh, that's a fancy word. I kind of like that word.
See, I'm such a naive human being that I feel like that could probably happen to me on a daily basis, and I wouldn't know that it's happening to me. Somebody just saying random stuff to me. That is not even close to the truth.
I would feel too dumb that I didn't know what it actually was to ask the question.
Do you ever get in that situation where someone asks you something and you feel like you should know the answer, but you definitely don't, and then you just roll with the conversation like you know what it is, but it just definitely isn't what you think it is? It happens to me 4 times a week, probably.
Every day it happens to me.
Yeah. And then you go back in the car and start to cry and Google everything that you said to make sure you're not wrong. Yeah. That's pretty much my entire job. It's pretty fun.
I feel like that's just being a salesman in general, and that's why I would hate to be a salesman.
Yeah, it's all tomfoolery. It's all tomfoolery. We sell really good stuff, but the process of getting to the actual stuff, like bypassing the person at the desk, talking to the office manager, going through all the required steps requires so much nonsense. Like, just kind of, I don't want to use the word I'm actually thinking, but just like talking around what you're actually trying to say so you don't get blocked by that person, so you just be super vague. Yeah, that's my whole existence.
My favorite part about being a salesperson for the 1 year that I did it was I didn't get paid much as a base salary, but I had to make it seem like I was terrible at this job, by the way. Just awful. I have no business telling anything to anyone ever. But my favorite part was I had to seem like I was really busy, and we were selling like advertisements for sporting events and stuff. And so one time I got into the Shelbourne Knee Clinic, which is in Indianapolis. I think it's part of another.
Shelbourne. Very familiar.
But when I talked to the lady on the phone, she was like, we're not buying anything. You can come in here and talk for an hour, but we're not buying anything. But I still went. And I told my bosses, this is a potential client. 100% it is. Just let me razz it up. We talked about horse racing. We talked about budgets. We talked about the new iPhone. We talked about Doodle Jump. Like, just nonsense for an hour that I got paid to work.
Yeah, that's pretty much what sales is. Everyone's a potential client. Even if they outwardly say they're not, they just don't know it yet. I've gotten
definitely not.
Yeah, I've gotten listen, we're not buying anything. We're happy that you can bring us some lunch. We're not buying anything. And I'm like, sweet, sign me up. Can't wait to see you guys in a week. I'll bring in all the pizza. I'll pay for it. If you guys will just listen to me for 2 seconds, and 90% of the time, no one even comes. I just drop off the pizza and leave. And that it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I really like it.
That's awesome. So on the same vein as the bugs, on my back porch,
Oh,
there
back to
is
bugs. I forgot why we were even talking about it.
not even not back to bugs. I guess we're on the same vein as nature.
What I just said.
I don't.
We go in so many different directions sometimes.
I can't even think about what the path was from the bugs.
It was basically just why people make stuff up.
Yeah, we went from the bugs on my porch to cicadas, and then the cicada life cycle being made up.
Making it up. Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's good. Sometimes it's good for a little recap. In case
so I noticed a bird's nest on my back porch today. So not like in a very easy
big
place
day
to
in
see.
John's house in his yard.
I know the nature is
bugs dying everywhere. He's got birds nesting.
The nature is taking full force today. You have a title for us? What is it, Dustin?
Yeah, can I put it out on air? Should it be a surprise?
I don't care. Of course. Go ahead.
It should be the birds and the bees. I mean, I know we didn't talk about bees, but we did talk about insects. So
yeah, but the birds and the bees is typically about other things. So that might imply that
people might
I
get
feel
the
it's
wrong
going to
idea.
drive up traffic. I'm trying to be a good salesperson here.
Sells.
And lying to people.
Yeah. We could say we didn't know what it meant.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with it.
All right,
I wasn't, but now you sold me.
I'm still not with it. Anyway, I don't even know how to get back on the rails.
You have a bird. You have birds.
There's a bird's nest on the back porch of my house. So when you come out of our back door, there's a small little deck with 4, I guess, poles, if you will. And in one of the high corners of the pole, I noticed there was a bird's nest. And my first instinct was to take it down. But I know you're not supposed to do that. Why? Again, I guess we're going back into the same thing. What's the whole deal with if you move a bird's nest? I guess you can move it a little bit, like not super far away, but like if I want to throw it away, let's just say there's no eggs in there. If I were to move that bird's nest and it's completely empty, are the birds like the whole issue is that they won't return for their babies or something like that. But I guess if the nest is empty, it's not a big deal, but it's so high up to where I can't even see if there is anything in the nest. So I just left it alone, and I'm going to have a family of birds in my house this year.
Do you want to know why I have a stupid brain? Because the whole time you were talking now, I was thinking, well, maybe the birds can't find it. They don't have Apple Maps. Is that the stupidest thought maybe ever thought by a human?
Honestly, the journey that my words took to get to my point with the bird's nest felt pretty stupid as well. So
it was a long journey. We got there. You probably could have said, I have a bird's nest on my back porch. I know you're not allowed to move it because the birds can't come back. But if there's no babies, does it matter? That would have been a posed question. And I don't know if it does matter. I don't know. Just another thing that science is making up. Have you ever asked the birds if they can't find their house? No.
Have you seen that movie? It's a really old movie. Just called The Birds, where it's like a horror movie and they peck your eyes out and stuff like that. That's why I don't want to move the nest.
It's Alfred Hitchcock, I'm pretty sure. Also, I hate birds. And who made up this rule? Like
the birds?
Okay, let me. Did a bird write this?
They're like, we spent this long building this nest. Don't touch it. Don't touch my nest.
How is there a bird policeman that comes around? Like, how are they going to know if you move it? I would just stand out there and shake this pole until the bird nest flew down and be like, oh man, strong gust of wind came through.
the bird man comes.
Then you have a vulture on your back door.
I guess that's important. What kind of bird is it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the bird that made the nest. I just know that there's a nest there and it wasn't there a few days ago.
Are you going to get like binoculars and look at them? Because that's a very old man thing.
So Dustin said birds aren't real. There is a conspiracy out there that all birds are government spy, like they're machines that are used as government or ways for the government to spy on us.
If I were to believe this, because the argument I've heard is, have you ever seen a baby bird?
Yes.
And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. Now, pigeons. I'm not saying, but have you ever seen one of those things that's not full grown? I haven't. I don't claim to live in a city where there's a lot of pigeons all the time.
I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever seen any pigeons.
I've spent some time in Europe. They have those big plazas. Pigeons love those plazas. Spend a lot of time in the plaza. thousands of pigeons, all the same age.
Have you?
All of them.
They're all born. They're like candy corn. They were all produced at the same time.
You, if a bird were to be a spy, it would be the pigeons. Is all I'm saying.
And they used to have carrier pigeons. So
I'm just trying to tell you,
the OG spies.
How did these things know where to go? Pigeons are really stupid. Apparently,
I have. That's what science wants us to believe.
I'm telling you.
John, I have a clarifying question. Have you never seen a pigeon or a never?
I know, so I've
seen
seen, like, I know what it looks like, but I've never encountered a pigeon, I should say. At
How
least
is
if I
that
have, I
possible?
didn't know that I did.
That has to be the most popular bird in America. Pigeon.
How have you never?
Have you never been in a barn?
Have you never been to Louisville? There's pigeons everywhere.
Are pigeons the birds that just sit on the light poles and look at people?
I mean, all the places they go, I'm sure they go on the light poles, but
that's what I picture in my mind when I think of like a pigeon in its natural habitat, even though it's not, natural. It's
a pigeon in its natural habitat on a light pole.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced you know what a pigeon looks like.
You know what? I'm going to look up what a pigeon looks like, and I'll be honest.
There is a Louisville Pigeon Club.
That's really weird.
This is amazing.
National Young Bird Show in Louisville, Kentucky. I bet there were no pigeons there.
Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen a pigeon.
There's no pigeons at the Young Bird Show because pigeons are all the same age. There's racing pigeons.
Pigeons do look a little sus.
The Louisville Racing Pigeon Club, their website is very bright. I would not recommend.
I could tell the hue on your skin changed whenever you're on that
website. It's
very
bright blue. Yeah. 163 separate flocks of pigeons in 20 minutes in Louisville.
What?
That's what this guy says.
Who's tracking this?
The scientist, probably.
He just wants to sound smart again.
Imagine telling somebody that your job is to track the pigeon flocks in a specific city, and that's all
somebody has to do it. Do you think somebody gets paid a lot to do that? The pigeon tracker? They probably don't have.
That doesn't even sound like a real job. Should I go on Indeed right now and see if there's any open positions for pigeon trackers?
You should, because I want to know how much it pays now.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking
career field opened up.
Do you think you would have to pass an FBI test to deal with the pigeons?
Yeah, because they're government spies. So you have to.
Yeah. I figured. I also want to know, John. This is your homework. You have to find out what kind of bird is nesting on your porch. Because what if it's like a cardinal or something? That's cool.
There has been a cardinal, at least maybe it was just one day that I saw it, that was kind of floating around the backyard, but I don't know if that's what's taking up residence.
This is something that's actually pretty cool. Speaking of birds, I hadn't thought about it till just now. I live just by Eagle Creek. Not just by, it's a little bit east or west of me, but we take my dog to the dog park there, and every once in a while you see either one or two like huge bald eagles flying around there. It's so cool. They're just probably looking to pick up Franklin and eat him. Maybe me. They might eat me. They're the biggest birds I've ever seen. But have you ever seen one of those out in the wild, John? I imagine.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I have.
Surprise me. Have you ever seen any kind of
Mitchell's
bird?
like, you don't get out much.
That's what it's a pigeon, bro. There are pigeons everywhere.
You can see it out your window.
I'm telling you, go to your local town square. There's going to be pigeons there.
This is true.
Never been? Yeah.
I guess I just don't pay attention to the government spies. Like I just don't want to act like they're not there.
That's what they want us to do, man. Don't fall into the trap. You know what's scary is people that listen to this show probably think I'm actually a conspiracy theorist because I enjoy talking about them.
I hope so.
That would be awesome. If somebody thinks that I'm like building a bunker, I might be.
You should show up in just some sort of hard hat sometime.
Yeah, long day at work. Just a shovel and a pickaxe.
One thing I'd like to know, and I'm going to bring up the hotline here, and we are going to take a couple of calls today. But if you are somebody who believes in a specific conspiracy theory, I want to know which one it is.
And don't make it one of the popular ones, like 9/11, boring. John F. Kennedy, boring.
Now, if you can take those conspiracy theories and give us like a specific, unique reason, I wouldn't be against that. Like something I've
but
never
like Building 7
entertained.
or the government blew up the buildings. Like, come on.
So yeah, if you got anything like that, hit the hotline 502-830-9195. That could be really interesting depending on
I want some local conspiracies. Like, are there any there used to be this place in like just north of Indianapolis where they had a bunch of huts. There's like a big compound. They had a gate with motion sensor lights and stuff. We used to believe that there's aliens back there.
Oh man.
We used to go back there and they would ride us off on like four-wheelers. It's pretty weird. But
people would pick you up.
So we were in high school, so we were stupid. There's like 7 people. I made that sound like there might be girls present. There was not. 7 dudes packed in one car, and we would back down this long, it's like half a mile driveway to this big gate. It was a true gate with motion sensor lights, barbed wire, and you would back in, the lights would come on, and then they would chase you out of there with four-wheelers. So you had to like drive away. And I got followed out of there. So I know it was real, but something like that. I want to hear about stories like that around Indiana.
Wait, I've got one for you. I don't know if it's not really a conspiracy theory. It's more of a ghost story.
I like this. Bring it on.
Okay, so there's a place in Peru, Indiana, out in the middle of nowhere.
I was just there today.
Were you really? I'm sorry.
I was. Great golf course.
Anybody that lives in Peru, I played at the Peru Municipal Course. What was the course you played at?
I didn't play there today, but Rock Hollow is awesome. They have a qualifier
Okay,
there.
I'm with you on that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Rock Hollow. I always thought that was in Kokomo. Anyway, so there's this place called Okefenokee, and it's supposed to be.
At all. That doesn't even sound real, but I believe it.
Look it up. I've been out there multiple times back in the day. So, I think I went out there like 3 or 4 times, but it was supposed to be like this haunted woods. It's just like this long drive. I don't know if it's private property or not, but it's this long drive all the way back to this woods, and you're supposed to see ghosts and spirits and all. It's like supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Indiana. I don't really know why. I don't know if it was like supposed to be like an Indian burial ground, or I'm not sure what it was. Anyway, I think it was the very first time we went out there was after high school graduation, and me and my best friend were in the and I was driving, he was in the passenger seat, and I think there was 3 people in the back seat. I can't remember. Nonetheless, it was like 11 o'clock midnight at night, pitch black. There's no lights out there. And there were 2 men like dressed in like Civil War gear riding horseback, like the opposite. As we were going in, they were going out, and it was slow moving. They just stared at us through the car. And it was 2 of them. Like, it was long hair, long beards, long mustache. It was the creepiest thing I've ever seen. But as an 18-year-old and as 5 18-year-olds, we decided we were still going to drive all the way to the back and get out of the car, because why not get murdered in a random place?
It's like a big turnaround, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm reading about it. They closed it because there was a bunch of trash back there, but it was not because of any ghosts. But yeah, this is a real thing. Great footage of orbs, young girl floating through the windshield of a car.
Oh,
yeah, we don't like this.
These people were either ghosts or they were LARPing. Only those are the only 2 answers.
Speaking of LARPing, you know what movie I watched recently? That's
hold
just
on.
The funniest movie of all time.
I need to know what LARPing means. Again, I'm a writer and I don't know this word.
So LARPing, it stands for live action role play.
It's like you go out as a knight and you fight a battle, or I guess you could do Civil War as well. Like my best friend in the world did Civil War reenactments when he was growing up, and he said it was more like camping. He was like 10. But it's a weird thought, a 10-year-old camping with a bunch of adults that are Civil War reenactors. Take it how you want, but weird thought. He had a good time. He loved it. Don't ask him why. But yeah, this person visited over a decade ago, hasn't been back since. 4 of my friends and I go out here at midnight. Nobody believed in ghosts. Get out a Ouija board. Pretty dumb.
Very dumb.
Yeah. Cameras start going off. Ouija board starts going bananas. Yeah, this is a real place. This could be a thing that I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks.
I told you.
Although it's closing, I guess.
It was so freaky. Like to this day, all 5 of us saw it. So it was like these were they were. There was some sort of, I'll use your word, LARPing, ghosts, or what they could have done was like, hey, here's what we do on Friday and Saturday nights because we got nothing better to do. We freak out a bunch of people who decide to come to this place because they think it's haunted.
I tell you what, it's probably pretty satisfying if they were able to make it work on you guys.
Because
Mitchell,
it wasn't like they didn't say anything, they didn't do anything. They were just like writing.
They were selling the bit.
Pace.
They were live action role playing.
Yeah, they were selling it for sure.
Mitchell, did you say you had a LARPing story?
No, I just watched the movie Role Models.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh man, you got to watch it. Paul Rudd and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they get in trouble. They're they're energy drink salesmen, and they kind of lose their mind and crash their big car that looks like a Minotaur. And they get like their punishment is they have to be big buddies, basically, to younger kids. And one of the guys likes LARPing, and the end scene is all of them doing the big battle royale, and it is their what's their name? Kiss My Anthea, and they all dressed as like people from Kiss. It's very funny. You should watch it.
I think I have seen this. I think I have seen this movie.
It's so good. It's crazy, but it's good. This Okie, I'm gonna keep on this Okie Pinokie. I don't like I'm on Reddit where dreams go to die.
Yep, of course.
Says there, and it's a link to an article. There have been 8 bodies found out there that they found. The Mississinewa police reported out there.
So is this common for this place to be in the news up in that area?
I don't think so. I don't think anymore. I think it used to be like, because it runs up against the Mississinewa Reservoir.
Yeah.
And so I think there've been like boating. I can't remember exactly, but I thought that there was like boating accidents and like, I don't know if it's mysterious deaths. I don't know if any of it was like murder or anything, or but I don't know. I thought it was like mysterious death type stuff. I could be wrong.
Yeah. The end of this post is pretty calmly, please do not Ouija board here. The spirits do not like it. I hate that. I hate that. All right. I like when these just start with bugs and end with 8 murders and Ouija boards.
And I know we've gone down the ghost path before, and I think we've all said that we believe in ghosts.
Oh yeah.
What do you think that? And I don't want to offend anybody who doesn't believe in ghosts because everybody has their reasons. But do you think that most people that don't believe in ghosts decide not to believe in them because if they do believe in them, it's accepting that there's a chance that they could be haunted by something? And they're avoiding that kind of thing. And again, maybe I'm looking way too deep into people's thoughts here. But to me, even though I've never really had a true encounter, like I've had creepy things happen now and again, but I've never had a true encounter with a ghost. Yet I still believe that those who say they have wouldn't be making up something like that.
Yeah, well, I think if you believe in angels, then you believe in ghosts. If you believe that an angel came to Mary to tell her that Jesus was going to be born, that's what a ghost is. Like, it's something that's living.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Yeah, I think what's scary is, at least in America, Christianity is still the most popular religion. But basically all the religions come from the same kind of source. So they all kind of believe this. Like if you have a positive, an angel, if you believe in heaven, then you have to believe in hell. And that opens up the possibility of angel, St. Michael the Archangel, in the Bible 100 times. And I've never read the Quran or any of the other books, but like you have the Archangel who defends against the demons. Like if you believe in heaven, you believe in angels, you have to believe in hell and you have to believe in demons. And I think that can be a scary thought, that there are things that we don't understand and can't control that are kind of roaming around us that we can't see all the time. But I mean, I think that's why I mostly believe, other than they were at my mom's house. But
oh yeah, almost forgot about that story.
Yeah, they were there. But it's kind of interesting when someone doesn't believe in ghosts. Like, then you have to be not religious. I think you have to kind of be an atheist person to believe that. I think, and that may not be the correct interpretation. I'm definitely not a priest, and I am definitely not.
I think there's probably multiple interpretations, but I think that's probably true for that specific case. I would say.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's get into a couple calls before we wrap this thing up. We did get a few, none on the food poisoning topic. And honestly, I'm glad we didn't, because, I'm not even going to say why. It's kind of an inside, not even a joke, but just between Dustin and Mitchell.
Yeah,
pre-show stuff going on.
You're 40 minutes in. I don't want to see what's on that stool.
Yeah, me neither. So we got a couple calls. Let's go ahead and get into them. Actually, I haven't screened either one of these. I do see one is 30 seconds, and I see one is 3 minutes. So let's do the short one first. And we may have to save the 3-minute one for later.
Yeah, you should definitely. 3 minutes is a long time to say some nonsense.
Okay, so hold on. It's 3 minutes, but I'm looking at the text. But it looks like they probably just forgot to hang up the phone, because like they spoke and there's just dead silence. If that makes sense.
Well, let's go ahead and look at that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and play. Let's play the one that we know is shorter first, and we'll see where it takes us, and we may postpone the next one to next week. So again, the hotline number, if you want to leave us a message, is 502-830-9195. We'll play this one right now.
Hey, this is Dustin's acquaintance. I'm calling in because I have to say John is absolutely right. Pizza King is hands down the greatest pizza in the state of Indiana, and I don't want to hear any more of this awful talk about how it's not any good. All right. It's the best. Yes. Part of it is childhood, but it is the absolute best.
This guy doesn't know anything.
Dustin is absolutely right that the restaurant in his hometown is nowhere near as good as it actually was when we were kids. Thanks for the show, guys.
Well, shout out Dustin's acquaintance for the Pizza King shout out.
He got half of his comments correct.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have somebody back it up, though, because I felt like I was the only person, whether it be on this show or on social media after the fact when we posted the clip, that truly enjoys Pizza King. Even my wife comments on the TikTok, and she agrees with you guys. She's not a big Pizza King person.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that's just kind of a normal, trustworthy, sane response. I mean, Pizza King, come on. What are we talking about? We don't even have to talk about it anymore.
And so we don't. We hit all the nails last week, and unfortunately, I'm just getting hammered.
Yeah, change your ways. I'd rather eat Long John Silver's.
Hey, they say misery loves company, and I'm happy to be miserable with Dustin's acquaintance this week.
There you go.
By the way, a YouTube comment real quick. Apparently, there was a quote that I said, "I was born to be miserable." Did I say that last week? I don't remember saying that.
Probably.
Someone quoted it and thought it was funny. And
I don't think
maybe I was born to be miserable.
I don't think any of the three of us remember what happens on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah. 90. Remember that stuff I was talking about where I just make stuff up? That's pretty much my entire life. I'm just winging it all the time. All the time. No plan, just floating in the wind, doing my best. And then don't think about it. That's the only way to not be stressed. Just have no cares, no worries. Don't think about anything.
Do we want to play this? Do we want to play this second message, or do we want to screen it before we play it and do it next week?
I'm going to let you're the one that gets anxious about that.
I don't get anxious about it. I just want to get your permission because I'm going to play it if
play it.
Go ahead. We'll end it right after this.
We'll end it with this one. Yep.
Here we go. Hopefully this isn't actually 3 minutes, but we're going to give it a shot.
Hey guys, I really enjoy listening to the show every week. This is Mama Cat, and I just want to say, hey, to you guys, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. And I have a little message for you about Chick-fil-A.
Okay. So this is a blank part of the message. I'm going to try to skip ahead and see if I can find if there's any other.
I'm interested.
Yeah. As I skip through, there is nothing else in this 3-minute recording. So Mama Cat said that she had a little message for us about Chick-fil-A.
That is the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers.
Maybe she's wanting us to interpret it.
And that's kind of where I'm trying to take this, because I know we talked a little bit about Chick-fil-A whenever we were comparing
Popeyes.
the workers at Chick-fil-A to the Disney workers and how they have to be happy all the time.
Yeah.
Or at least they come off as happy all the time. But I'm curious the direction Mama Cat was going to go, because again, cliffhanger of a lifetime right there.
Yeah.
Call it again. We want to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If
Mama Cat previously called about pickleball, so she knows how this works. So Mama Cat, if you have more to your story, feel free to give it another shot, and maybe we'll
love to hear it
again next week.
Yes.
We'll throw that hotline out, the hotline number out there again, 502-830-9195. And again, if you have conspiracy theories, I think that could be something really fun to get into if anybody has, especially like Mitchell said, something unique, something that maybe we haven't touched on, or maybe that isn't in the mainstream. And we're not conspiracy theorists, but I think it's fun to kind of humor it and hear people's thoughts on that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, I think we're going to wrap this one up a little bit early. And again, I prefaced it a little bit before we got into phone calls, and I'm not going to go into any further detail.
Sounds like you are.
No, we're not. You want me to. You want me to embarrass myself live on the podcast.
I think I stopped you from going deeper. I think if we would have just sat here and relaxed, you would have just fumbled yourself into talking about your condition.
No.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I won't talk about the condition, but I will say before the show, there were some adventures that took place that weren't fun, and I think they're trying to come back.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to fumble himself right into it.
So now,
I'm trying
to
stop him, and he's going to go right into it. He's going to, and I can't tell you what the adventures are, but they involve this and this and this.
Mitchell, you are a wolf in sheep's clothing, because you want me. You're taking a fishing lure. You're grabbing me by the lip, and you're dragging me closer and closer.
I told you to stop. I said just end it, and then you said all I was gonna say was no. And now, if you don't know what's happening to him, I don't know what to tell you. It's his fault. He's got some things going on. They're adventures, and he's got to go back for more.
And this is our little cliffhanger to end the show on. Now end it.
That's true. But see, here's the thing. The cliffhanger is not going – there's not going to be a continuation to it next week.
Well, there's about to be right now if you keep talking. So play the music.
I guess so. I'll play us out. Thanks for checking us out. This was quite the episode. Appreciate you as always. For Mitchell, for Dustin, for Mama Cat, for Dustin's acquaintance, this has been another episode of Out of Touch, and we will talk to you next time.